Every club.
Every day.
The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hey Wolves fans, welcome in. It is Chris here at Daily Wolves today, coming to you with a quick reaction following the fantastic result tonight against Manchester United. It is, of course, Wolves 2, Manchester United 0. And wow, what an evening. I'm sure, like me, you guys are all buzzing and feeling elated at the turn of events the past week. What a difference a week makes. And I'm gutted that the rest of the gang aren't here with me right now. I'm sure we'll get deeper into things tomorrow and have a lovely back and forth on some of the details. But I had to check in with you guys and just run through some of it with you and just get that feeling off my chest that we're back, guys. It feels like things are on the mend. And let's hope this is only the beginning. Yes, we all hoped for the new manager bounce, but are we going to get more than that? Based on what I've seen so far, I really hope so. I want it to be true. I want it to be true. The Vitor Periera era has begun. 2 wins, 2 clean sheets. I mean, that is surely the most positive thing out of all of this over the recent change of events, like this recent events unfolding. It was fair enough. We put 3 past Leicester. Scoring has not been a problem, but we kept a clean sheet against a team that didn't look that great. Ironically, as I'm recording this, they were 1-0 up against Liverpool, shockingly, typically, pushing us back down into the relegation spots for a moment. But Liverpool have just equalised. So hopefully they'll do us a little favour there, because that would be just typical for them to go and beat Liverpool now. However, so we kept the clean sheet against them, but now against Man U, and I know they're on a downward spiral, but even so, much more capability there, arguably, than Leicester. And so to keep another clean sheet, a fairly solid first half. I mean, it was obviously 0-0 at half time, but we looked competitive. We looked solid. The starting lineup saw only one change, which was obviously, Aït-Nouri coming back in for Rodrigo Gomez, who I think obviously could have probably felt a little bit hard done by, but the youngster probably expected it, knowing that he is the regular in that spot. I'm happy that Andre and João Gomez continued the partnership in midfield. And at the moment, Lamina was still out of the substitutes, apparently still carrying a knock. We'll wait and see to get more news on that as to his status. But so only one change, and I was happy with that. Don't change your winning formula too much. I mean, even though he's obviously still getting to know the team, getting to know what he wants to do. The stability is what we've spoken about time and again on this pod. The fact that things just look so constantly unstable under O'Neill, the constant changing of tactics, the changing of lineup, the persistence on just messing with it. And Pereira has come in and seems to be putting a stop to that with, playing people in their rightful spots, sticking with a set formation, making this kind of square in midfield, with the 2 holding, with Andre and João Gomez just defending that back line, looking really solid. We've seen with Doherty come in, obviously, at centre-back in the back 3 alongside Bueno and Totti. And again, he looks assured. I'm liking it because it just allows Semedo to roam. And Doc is strong in the air. He just gives a bit more height to that back line, a bit more, defensive capability with those far post headers. And, we look solid. We didn't concede a set piece goal. They had opportunities, even in that first half, a few free kicks and moments where we've been susceptible to danger, but we looked solid. And I was happy to go in. I mean, I was disappointed that we didn't score in the first half, but I felt we were in this game. I felt it was competitive, and we looked a bit more like a team of old. Not fully guns blazing yet, but we looked, like we feel like we should be playing competitive against these bigger teams. And I know that Man U are not what they once were, but they still carry that weight, and you still want to rise up and show that, we are more than capable of competing at this level, far better than we have done so far this season. So I was happy with the first half overall. And Kunyu, my word, We've spoken at points about the fact that he's tried to do too much this season. There was a couple of moments in this game where he potentially just looked like he wanted to take on the whole of the Man U team, carrying the ball past everyone. But he was on song tonight. He was on having one of those games where he looked up for it. He looked like this was, he wanted to do it, wanted to make a difference. Again, some of the touches in the first half, his control of the ball, turning, the one moment where he kind of the ball came in from high, I think from Sarr, and just kind of like Cruyff turned it out of the air and then turned it past the Man U player and then just charged upfield. I mean, it was exquisite. You know what I'm talking about. It was beautiful. And there was moments like that dotted throughout the game. So I was just superlatives running out for him. And the only scary thing is that we are, the more that these things happen this season, the more likely we are to see bids come in for him, whether it's in January or the summer. Yeah, they can't, whether he's banned or not at that point. I'm sure he will be by then. And we're making the most of him not being on his ban right now. And thank heavens, because today we needed him. I mean, I'd like to think we could have been just as strong, but, he made the difference. He was the difference maker tonight. And so we need him. We definitely don't want to lose him in January. Summer might be another matter, but I hope we can keep him for as long as we possibly can, because, man, I love that man. So, yeah, 0-0, half-time. And then second half, I mean, I think it would have still been up there for us to win it. But when Bruno Fernandes got a second booking and therefore a red card 90 seconds into the second half, you just knew this was the chance to take it to them and really go at them. And we did for a long period. We practically immediately had the ball in the net from Strand Larsen on a really nice move. And he had the ball in the net twice today, and on another day wouldn't have got off. I mean, both of them offside, sadly. First one more marginal than the other one was clearly offside, but the first one, he said in his interview afterwards, he's just got too long of legs, because if he didn't set off when he did, he probably wouldn't have got to the ball. But he's got such long legs, his feet end up being offside. So I found that quite funny. But the second one, the second one was ironic because the entire stadium and the linesman and everyone watching at home knew immediately it was offside, yet VAR seems to take an eternity just double checking that the second one was not offside. But yeah, the Bruno Fernandes incident obviously had a massive impact on how Manchester United came out the second half, changed everything with the first couple of minutes, and they very much stuck rigidly then to 5 at the back, 3 in midfield, and really tried to just shut up shop and then hope for something maybe on a set piece where we've been susceptible all season, or on a counter move. And it took longer than I hoped for the goal to come. But when Kunyu scores from a corner in the 58th minute and it's straight in from the corner, he unveiled afterwards that it was intentional. And some players say that, and you think that, they're lying. He sounded so genuine and discussed the fact that he'd been doing it in practice, like being told to shoot in practice by Pereira and, actually go for it and we'll do the rest. And sure enough, he tried it in the first half and it didn't work out, but got it in the second half. They stacked the box, player either side. I think it was Doc and Bueno either side of the keeper, not fouling him, just blocking his route, meaning he couldn't backpedal to do anything about it. And it was a beautiful finish. And he did it on purpose. And it was actually a strategy. Instilled from the manager. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's great, because we haven't seen... there's so many things he's capable of. And why not, while we've got him, make the use of him as much as we can? And it worked. I think the most frustrating thing after that was that we did push on for a long period. We had a real control the second half. And then, I guess as you'd expect from a team that's been on the back foot all season, we really struggled. We really struggled for about a 10-minute period, coming up to the 90th minute, say 80 to 90 minutes, where we just kept giving the ball away cheaply and dropping deep again and boosting it long and waiting for it to come back, and just taking too long to make decisions and not playing it anywhere with any aim, just booting it back to menu and sitting deep. And you just worried for a second that it was going to go back the way it has been all season, that we were going to do something wrong. There was one moment, for example, where Totti, who for the most part had a pretty decent game, just too casual on the ball, let the opposing player just sneak up, just like walk up and take it off him because he dawdled on the ball. And we had moments like that crept in late in the game where we just got too lax. The initial momentum from the red card and the disallowed goals, and then the goal itself, that kind of faded. And yeah, there was just you could feel the anxiety that something was going to go wrong. However, as we mentioned earlier on, the solidity, they seem more assured at the back in terms of at least defensively in the air. Everyone seems a little bit more switched on as to where they're meant to be, even within a week or so. And so despite the fact that there was a period where Man U had a flurry of corners and had the momentum to keep getting the ball back into our box, that we were strong enough. Some good headers clear from Doc and from Totti and even Bueno, like all three of them pitching in and holding strong for a change. And then we had a couple of beautiful counter moments. There was one where Strand Larsen on the break tried to play in Guedes. It should have been a goal. I mean, just picked the one option that didn't get through to Gedge, and that would have been game over. And you just thought that second goal was never quite going to come. And then Doyle, my man, once again comes on later in the game. Once again, we saw Pereira not move as quickly to make subs, but they were assured. He did use he used all his substitutions again throughout the second half to kind of solidify and just shut up shop as it was later on. We saw Dawson come back into that back line as Semedo came off and just moved Doc out and just add a bit more stability. And Doyle came in, I think, partly because Gomez was on the yellow and looking, he might get, like, he was susceptible to picking up a second yellow at some point because we were fighting so hard to kind of get the ball back. And so I was happy overall, but just stressed that second goal wouldn't come. And then on the break, Doyle, my man, he gets the ball. He gets the ball deep in his own half, wins the ball back, hoofs it upfield. And then Kunyu and Hwang, they can't be offside. They start from behind the halfway line on the break, 2-on-1. And Kunyu unselfishly probably could have scored himself, but then plays in Hwang for an easy finish. Gets his first Premier League goal of the season. Hopefully that's a good thing for him to give him a morale boost as well in this new regime, because we all know he needs it. We all know what he's capable of. I mean, last season he was fantastic for us for such a long period. And after he went away to the Asian Cup, he's just not been the same. And I really hope that this is a turning point for Hwang, because I like him. I think he is a bit of a scapegoat sometimes. I think he's easy to target because of the Xi regime and everything else like that. But I think he's a hard worker. I think he is an asset. And I really hope it's a turning point. And it was great for Kunyu to play him in, I think, and a great team moment. Pereira said it himself that in one of the post-match interviews that this is what he loves to see, unselfish teamwork. When someone like Kunyu plays in Hwang for the finish to assuredly make sure it's 2-0, that for him is the sign of a good team spirit, and he wants to see that. And he spoke again about, they said, what is the difference that you've brought? What have you said to them? What is it that's making the difference right now? And he spoke quite simply about confidence, about the fact that it's, obviously in this short time frame, there's only been a few, well, he says, a few minor tactical things to change in this period, but a big part of it is about confidence, about believing in themselves and letting them express themselves. But most assuredly, just that I think Pereira has a confidence and an air about that himself, his experience. He clearly knows what he wants. There's no indecision. It seems very definite in that, he's got his idea of how he wants them to play, where they're going to be, what the formation is, like defensively, how they're going to set up. He speaks about the fact that he wants them to know exactly where they are, that all his teams start with a very assured way of defending, and then knowing the midfielders and attackers have to understand in relation to that when they are good to press and when they need to hold for the team. And it all stems from there. And so that seems to be having an impact already. The fact that he's got this air of confidence. The people interviewing on Prime even spoke about the fact that in their brief interview with him, he had despite the fact that he's not very tall, that he has this demeanor, this certainty when he speaks, even in his non-native language of English, which he speaks very well, that he just has this assured confidence himself that helps instill confidence in the players in what he wants. Because I think if you show doubt as a manager, and it's the same in any walk of life, whatever your role, whatever your capability, if you show doubt or uncertainty in the things you're telling someone in leadership, it breeds in to the workers, it breeds in to the people around you. If you come in with the certainty and an assurity and an understanding and express it clearly enough, then it can do wonders, because there is no doubt. People understand exactly where they're at and what they want. And I did love the fact that in the replay of the celebrations after the second goal, that because Doyle was not far from, by that point, from the home bench when the goal went in, that he turned, because he's right on the touchline where he won that ball, turned to Pereira and just ran and gave him a big hug. And there was a great moment between them, if you get to see it. And I know he isn't starting again at the moment because it's tough to get in against that partnership of Andre and Gomez, which I thought worked really well again. But it was lovely to see, and hopefully things are changing, guys. Things are working. Before we get on to a couple of other thoughts, and I'm partly out of breath, I think, just because I've been cheering, and I'm I don't sound it. I think I'm partly exhausted as well. It's been a long day, guys. Season's greetings to you all. I should have said that already. I hope everyone's having a good season, festive season, if that's your thing. But while I do that, let's take a moment to remind everyone that we are the Global Sports Podcast Network. That's right, you heard it here first. The only network bringing you exclusive daily news and views on your Premier League team. The Premier League, women's football and fantasy football. A unique listening experience that puts fans first, bringing you the very latest breaking news from your team. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and make us your first listen every day. Global Sports Podcast Network, every club, every day. Now, what I did also want to say, a couple of things of note, was I was really happy to see when Aït-Nouri did go off at one point for, I don't know if he picked up an actual knock or again if it was cramp or something, but he did seem to struggle at one point after he took a bump from someone late in the game. And when he went off, it was Rodrigo Gomez that came on in his place. And I'm happy with that because he was so assured in the last game. He did really well against Leicester. He's earned more chances for me. I mean, he'd already earned them before Pereira came up, based on everything we saw in pre-season and the brief flashes under O'Neill. But 2 games under Pereira, we've seen Rodrigo Gomez do a whole game when Aït-Nouri was out, and now replace Aït-Nouri when he's come off, which before we might have seen other people take that spot, or, a bit more confusion and people out of position. But I'm happy he's assured in that spot. He's played in that spot in his previous team. He's worth it. And what was great was late in the game when he was there, because he's also got that attacking ability and that speed. When we were struggling to get the ball out and giving it away a lot, there was a moment when he managed to get on the break and he went for it. He didn't just turn back. He charged forward. He took on his man and he got the ball in the box, and it almost led to a goal. And I want to see that. I like that. I like the fact. I really like him. He looks sharp. He looks excitable. Like, he looks excited to be there. He looks like he wants to be there. And that, for all of us, right, as not just Wolves fans, but as football fans for any team, right, you want to see players on the pitch that look like they want to be in your team, that look like they want to be there and that they're happy to be there and they want to give everything. And Rodrigo Gomez looks like that. And maybe there's a part of Matt that is just like, he's young and he's in the Premier League and he's happy, but great. That's cool. I'll take it. Give it to me. It's the same with Pereira, right? He's arguably, he said again and again in a couple of his interviews about the fact that he's always dreamed of playing in the Premier League. It's not a secret. Managing in the Premier League, sorry. It's not a secret. He, was up for Everton more than once and he's been waiting a very long time. And this is now his opportunity. And so there's a part of me that thinks he probably would have taken anything. It wasn't necessarily all about Wolves for him. It was just about being in the Premier League. But now he's here. It's about Wolves. I mean, it's still about the Premier League for him more than anything else, but that's fine. Again, I'll take it because he's a manager that wants to be in the league and is excited at the moment to be here. And for as long as that may be, if he can help keep this run going, assure our safety, and then, do anything else on top of that, I'll take it. If we get the benefits of someone who has fought for, as he puts it, like 14, I think is it 14 years or something, maybe longer, since he's dreamed of being in the Premier League or had opportunities to be in the Premier League as a manager. If that means we've got someone who is super keen to prove that they should have been in it sooner and that they are worthy of being it, they want to compete against the best, I will take it. I will take it and I'll ride this train as far as it will take us, guys. I will. So he may not have set his Premier League dream on Wolves, but now that he's here, let's make the most of it. And as long as Doc is in this back line against Bueno, and what I do like again is we've spoken about stability by being the same back three. Again, Dawson on the bench. I'm happy for it to come off as a sub later in games while we are still waiting on centre-back replacements because, given his age, given the legs, given the injuries he's had this season, it's probably good for him to be more of that guy now, Dawson, to come on later in games to help shut up shop when other people are more tired and just give a bit of stability. But in the meantime, if it is Doc, Bueno and Totti, which is kind of working right now, consistency is key for me. And I think that that is going to show. I think that's showing in the Pereira, even within 2 games. We saw there was some lovely moments where Bueno and Doc covering each other a lot. If one's gone out towards the touchline to mark someone, on the counter, then the other one's taking their spot and they're very aware and they were closer together. They're not leaving huge gaps between each other. There's large periods where they're communicating more. Doc, I think, is a bit like, not like a Dawson, but of those 3 in the back between Bueno, Totti and Doc, of those 3, I think he's arguably the most vocal given his experience. And so there was a lot of interchange at times between him and Bueno in terms of communication, in terms of swapping positions to cover each other, in terms of making sure that someone had whoever was foremost for Man U, making sure that someone was on him and then passing the management of that person from one to another. It was clear to see. So those are all good signs for me. And overall, happy, guys. Just happy. Happy with a win. Happy to see us climb out of the relegation zone. And as I am in the middle of this recording in the background, Liverpool are now 2-1 up against Leicester. So hopefully that continues as we would have expected it beforehand. And we will stay out of the relegation zone by the time I finish this recording and by the time you hear this. And who knows what lies ahead? I mean, I feel like the next few days, weeks, it's going to be an amazing ride. We've still got so much uncertainty ahead. We're waiting to find out how long the ban for Kunyu is going to be once the FA return from their Christmas holidays. I'm pretty sure because they are closed at the moment and they're all off having beers and stuff in their face with Christmas food. That's the only reason that we haven't heard anything. That time will come. What's going to be interesting to see is how we cope without him, given how integral he was today again. But we've seen positives. We've seen positives from Gedge again being, again in the starting lineup after his performance last game. And I think although he didn't get an assist or a goal today, looked solid. Had a fairly solid game again until he came off. Strand Larson, we know what we're going to get. I really love him. He's just so up for it and always wants to G the crowd up. And when he had that disallowed goal, he's still trying to get the crowd going. And he's he's just such a workhorse. I think it's fantastic. We've seen lots more. Obviously, the morale is got up. Like great smiles from the likes of Andre and Bueno, and even Gadget Time smiling. Who would have thought it? Whisper it. He's able to smile, everyone. I mean, we never thought we'd see that, but that man has a smile, and he's actually quite handsome. But and my hope is that if Kunyu goes on this ban, that him assisting Chan and giving him the goal is going to help get Chan on form a bit for Kunyu's absence. And I'm not saying he's a patch on Kunyu, but we need goal threats, right? We need people who are on form, and he's been out of form. So anything that helps just spur him and everything else on a bit, any little bit to help in Kunyu's absence. So if that's him giving an assist to Chan to help get him back on song, and be Kunyu showing his own leadership in a different way and showing his team ethic and giving Chan a boost, then bring it on. Man, guys, it's I'm just happy. I'm happy, and I hope you are too. I'm really curious how you guys all thought it went. I'm sure, like me, there was a lot of stress in the last 10 minutes because I was really worried we were going to throw it all away. So worried. But that last goal just made it all so much better. And overall, though, just happy with the performance and happy with 2 clean sheets. 6 points from the new manager in 2 games. The dream is real. Vitor had a dream of coming to the Premier League and showing what he could do. And boy, let's hope that we're on that journey with him and it's going to be a good one. Let's hope it's going to be a good one. So guys, I'm going to head off now. I'm going to leave you to it, and I'm sure we'll talk more again this week, especially with the rest of the team. But I did want to make sure we got some aftermath from one of us in the wake of this. It's a great Christmas. It's another great Christmas gift, Boxing Day gift. And I hope you are out there having fun and celebrating hard into the night or curled up in bed, wherever you're doing, wherever you are, if you're working, all that jazz. I hope the festive season has been a good one. I hope everyone out there is staying safe and having fun. Until next time, guys, out of darkness cometh light.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.